With AEW signing the icon Sting to a multi-year full-time contract, one question everybody has probably been asking or wondering is what is his role going to be? What is the role that Sting is going to have in All Elite Wrestling? And that's a good question because obviously one of the reasons he went to AEW is because unlike WWE, he wasn't given, an opportunity to go out the way he wants, and with AEW, he's being given that opportunity. But the question is, again, what is his role going to be? Now, I'm sure Tony Khan, being a wrestling fan himself, would love nothing more, like the rest of us, to see Sting perform, as an in-ring competitor, over the next several years of his contract. But I also, if I'm Tony Khan, realize that Sting has issues with his neck. So if I'm going to have him perform as an in-ring competitor, I got to be careful about how I have him perform. Am I going to have him very limited to what he can do? Or am I going to have him booked as somebody that when you're scheduled to have a match with him, you want to avoid getting in the ring with him, as much as you can, because pretty much in story as a heel, he's going to screw you up and teach you a lesson about not abusing your power or abusing your opportunity or whatnot. So, it's a good question as to what is his role going to be. Now, others would assume that probably the most safest role he can have is being a mentor to some of the younger talent, mostly like what they're teasing with Darby Allin. And I think that would be great, especially if they want to position Darby Allin in story as being that next Sting-like figure in professional wrestling, mostly in AEW. But then again, the other question is, will his role be that of an on-screen authority figure? Someone that steps in and says, hey, you ain't pulling this crap, we're going to do it this way, and you're going to do it this way whether you like it or not. Overall, we don't know what his role is going to be. I'm assuming we're going to find out more this Wednesday when he has his interview with Tony Schiavone, whether they do it old school, in the ring, like they used to on Nitro and Thunder, or if they have one of those pre-taped sit-down interviews that they do earlier in the day. It's going to be quite the interesting moment. I will say that. But again, we have to wonder, what is his role going to be? Is he going to be all three, or at least two of the three? Is he going to be a mentor and an in-ring performer? Is he going to be, an in-ring performer and an authority figure? What is it going to be? Again, hopefully we'll get some answers this Wednesday. But I think, honestly, the safest option is for him to be a mentor. I mean, if you want him to compete, that's great. But I think the safest option for Sting, especially with his neck injury, or the neck injury he got several years ago in his match with Seth Rollins at Night of Champions, the safest route is to have him mentor someone like a Darby Allin to be like the next Sting-like, performer in the business. In other words, pass the mantle, or in this case, pass the bat over to Darby Allin, and thus solidify him as the next big deal in the professional wrestling business, whether it's with AEW or another promotion. So, as I say a lot in my videos, and everybody says this a lot, it's a wait and see kind of scenario. But, I've been a fan of Sting for a long time. I was happy when he showed up at Survivor Series in 2014. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of that. I was just as happy as anybody to see it. And what's really crazy about this is the third time with another promotion that Sting has shown up to basically combat those that have abused their power and abused their opportunities instead of utilizing the power and their ability and their opportunities correctly. I mean, he did it with Impact Wrestling, TNA, on not once, but several occasions. Mostly that iconic, the bat and the leather coat, on the chair in the ring kind of moment on Impact, on Spike, I think, or FS1. Then, of course, like I said, the moment at Survivor Series when he basically cost the Authority the match, the main event match, which basically had them go away for about a month or so. And now with AEW and him coming to basically confront Team FTW, Team Taz, and them, and what they were doing. So it's going to be, basically when you think about it, it's basically the same thing here. Are they going to have him do this as well down the line with the likes of a Don Callis and a Kenny Omega? That might be intriguing. But again, as I say, and a lot of people saying, when it comes to these kind of situations, it's a wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see what the next step is. Again, like I said, we'll probably find out more this Wednesday on Dynamite, during his interview with Shivani. But again, in my personal opinion, I think the safest, thing for him to do is to be a mentor to Darby Allin. And if you're going to have him compete, you make sure that his health is the main priority, is the highest priority, and that if you have to make him look like a beast, in other words, somebody that gets, let's say in a tag match gets tagged in, and if you're someone like a Will Hobbs or a Brian Cage or a Ricky Starks, and you're like, oh no, not this guy, and you want to run for your life, then if that's how you got to book him to keep him safe and prevent him from being paralyzed or anything, or further injured to where he can't really do much, and your money is basically, wasted on this guy, signing him to a multi-year deal, then if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But again, my personal opinion is have him be a mentor to Darby Allin, because it looks like that's what they're teasing. As well as if you're going to have him wrestle on occasions to where his health and safety is the main priority. And if it means basically making him look like an unstoppable beast, that anytime, let's say, a Ricky Starks gets in the ring, he gets put into the death lock or gets hit with a death drop, 1, 2, 3, to kind of teach him a lesson, then so be it. But what do you guys think? What role do you think Sting will be playing in AEW? Do you think he'll be performing? Do you think he'll be a mentor? Do you think he'll be both? Do you think he'll be an authority figure and a performer? Or do you think he'll just be an authority figure? What is your guesses? What are your thoughts? I'd like to hear from you guys. Comment down below, and I will talk to y'all later. But what do you guys think? What do you think his role will be? Let me know down below, and I'm out.